Hi, how you doing? We're here to talk to Dr. Douglas Peterson about his book. I think it's called "How You Think and Feel Changes Your Body: Dynamic Body Psychology." I think you have a copy there. So
Here it is.
maybe just tell us a little bit about yourself, and we can start talking about what your book is about.
Okay, well, the book really references a lot of the experiences that I've had. Um, I started off professionally as a social worker, where I worked for a number of years. And during that time, I was uh, I thought of uh, learning massage therapy, which I would do while I was going to graduate school, and because I thought that would be a good part-time job. I didn't realize how much I would get into the whole massage therapy experience, and so much that after I finished a master's degree in psychology, I I started a massage school, and I worked in that for doing massage for another decade, and that was really informative, and it gave me a lot of hands-on experience of how to deal with people and people's issues. Um, then I um, finished a doctorate degree in psychology and became a licensed psychologist and also a school psychologist, which I did for about 15 years.
Okay.
But what I've learned during all of this is just how impactful the body is on the mind, and and that's how why I finished writing this book. The book is really partially a takeoff on the master's thesis that I wrote on body psychology.
Well, yeah, on the back cover of your book, it says to quote, "The psychology of the body provides profound insight into behavior, yet most people greatly overlook it."
Yes,
So,
and
uh, maybe you could explain a little bit what
sure.
that means.
In graduate school and in professional work, we always think about words, what people are saying, and we don't look at the body and the condition of the body and the structure of the body, and don't realize most people don't realize it because you're not taught in school that the body really reflects the mind, and that people's body shape, their body posture all are really conditioned by how we're thinking and what you're feeling. I can give you many examples of that.
Well, how you think and feel. That's the start of your book, right?
That's right. How you think and feel changes your body. And that's really
Uh,
the basis of this book. And I go through the book. Um, I start off with going through body part by body part and look at the functionality of that body part and what it does. Because if you want to understand the psychology of it, you have to understand what is the function of it. For instance, our legs are moving us along the earth. So our legs move us through life. And so our legs are have that function. Our arms do things. We reach out and we manipulate things, we grab things, we write things, we do things, we work on the computer, we use our arms and our hands and our fingers. So our arms are the doers of life.
but these body expressions have not just psychological and physiological, but also emotional um, I don't know, effects. Is that sort of what you're saying?
Yes, and the emotional effects. And we've known that ever since the time of Freud's time, because he would under hypnosis he would try to find out what was going on with people, and he would find out that very often the condition they had was related to the body. So, and
Oh,
Wilhelm Reich, who was a protege of Freud, followed up on that and wrote extensively on how the different parts of the body and the body itself gave expressions of what the mind was thinking and how the person was feeling, especially in how you're feeling. For instance, a person who's feeling depressed very often tends to, um, we say, look depressed. And what do we mean, look depressed? Well, it means that they have a presence of maybe they start eating a lot, because eating is a way of nurturing yourself when you have anxiety and when you're thinking about things. So they might have a larger pot belly, and they might have slumping shoulders, uh, because when you're depressed, you feel like you have the weight of the world on your shoulders, and you start slumping down further and further, and so those expressions of how you feel and think really show up in the body in very overt ways. And as part of our popular language, that person feels depressed. That person looks wired. We have
Oh
these
yeah.
expressions when we talk about people.
Well, that's interesting. You brought. I was gonna Wilhelm Reich because I was curious. Um, but so yeah, that's interesting because I see some of that. And well, you've had this interesting, very eclectic career, giving you like expertise in very different areas of therapy and counseling. So I gather that experience helped you form the ideas in the book. So you probably did research on this book, like, lasted decades. I mean, it's like an accumulation or a culmination, I
Yes,
would
I
think.
did research over a long period of time. I originally started the research at a master's degree that I did at USIU in body psychology, but it extended then and through the different careers I had in counseling and therapy, to look at what was happening with the person, what they were going through, and what their body was saying. Because very
Hmm.
often their body was telling you just what was going on, sometimes where their mind couldn't really understand what was going on, or their feelings were so blocked they couldn't fully express their emotions, but it would be in their body. Very often you can't express your emotions. That emotion gets stuck inside your body in a certain area. And um, and there's two main pathologies that happen, that change the structure of the body, and that is inflammation and induration, soft and hard. Inflammation, of course, is the softening because of the
No, can you
fluid
say that again?
trapped inside the cells.
Can you say that again? Inflammation and what?
Induration,
You might want to.
induration, dura, hardening,
Mhm.
induration, hardening from within. So we often, for instance, when we get, if you feel around on your body, very often you'll feel different lumps and bumps. And those lumps and bumps or hardening of different muscle structures are because the fascia collects, well, primarily toxic waste and 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 nutrition and in the fibrous cells, and they become hardened. So we call that induration.
Okay.
Um, so we have
So,
inflammation and induration, and those are the two pathological features of our physiology, and that creates the change in the body structure. And I can go through different emotions, different things, different parts of the body when I want to talk about how that process of inflammation and induration works. For instance, let's say in the head, you're a person is very, very anxious, and um, and they have problems that are overwhelming. But if you go to touch their head, you'd find that their head very often is soft, is swollen up, and very often they're experiencing a lot of headaches. And so that's the type of inflammation that happens in the head. Um,
okay. Well, I was going to ask that. So people with specific conditions can benefit from understanding and practicing reading your book, right? I mean,
yes, they can understand. There's a lot of therapies involved, but they could by reading it, they can get a sort of a understanding of what they're going through, and um, and look at. And there's different therapies that they could use. A lot of talk therapies, a lot of hands-on therapies. movement is of course movement and exercise is a big um, uh, is a great therapy for people who are functioning with a lot of pent-up emotions.
So, well, I would think also professionals like, say, massage therapists or counselors could find systems in the book helpful for treatment as well, right?
Yes, therapists and massage therapists and counselors, psychotherapists can see in the book a lot of the different uh, manifestations that a person goes through when they're dealing with their thinking, especially if it's pathological thinking. Pathological means it's repetitive thinking that's negative, or emotions, and very often it's the suppression of emotion, or the if it's not the suppression of emotion, it can be because of early childhood trauma of where they're uh, they're putting out a lot of negative emotions and thinking in order to sometimes relive, in order to understand their past trauma, and that can get them in trouble with the other people around them. Other people around them may not really understand. Their spouse may not understand it. Their friends may not understand it when they sort of seem like they freak out over different social situations
So,
or different comments that people make to them.
have you heard feedback from other massage therapists that they found the book helpful then?
Yes, in fact, there was at least a review or two on it. Massage therapists really found that the book was profound for them in understanding as they're going through, for instance, in massage therapy, you're going through massaging someone and you're finding different blocks in the tissue, um, basically induration and inflammation, blocks in the tissue, and and helping the person work that out. Sometimes people will even start verbalizing different things that they're going through as you're unblocking emotionally based blocks. We call it muscle blocks, but it's really induration in the connective tissue.
So the body psychology is the body's like a pretty big part. I mean,
Oh, yes.
because I mean, you know, you've got psychology in the title, but it sounds like massage therapists are also, you know, um, is really helpful for.
Yes, when I was a massage therapist, it was not uncommon for people to start talking about um, the experiences that they had or the feelings that they would have when they have different areas massaged, especially when you're able to massage it in such a way to help unglue or unblock that area. And because that area was started off being glued together or blocked or inflamed due to different emotional, different experiences that brought out different emotions and thinking. And so by unblocking that as a massage therapist, very often the person will experience that. They may not know what they're experiencing, but words will come out about how they're feeling sad. And every once in a while, they will come out and they'll have a memory of different things that happened to them at the time. I was
Okay.
working on a big man one time, and I was working on his chest. And as I was working on his chest, doing a type of massage called Traeger psychophysical integration, which is a type of movement therapy. Anyway, he would break down and start crying, and I so and that was fine. So I just calmly just finished it. But then I talked to him about it afterwards, and he said that he started remembering different events that happened to him uh, early on in his childhood, and that type of therapy brought out those memories. And then They couldn't help it when he was crying. Of course, he was embarrassed and he apologized. I said, "Oh, there's no need to apologize. That's very normal, and it's really good that you're able to express yourself in that way by crying to get it out."
Oh yeah. Well, after reading some of your book, I wanted to ask you uh about different types because I remember seeing something about how different types of people tend to hold trauma in certain areas, and just found it interesting that your book goes into, like real specific areas.
Well, the different parts, types of the body. I think you're talking about are the body types, the basic body types.
Yeah.
We usually call them. It's based on our germ cells, and as they are germ cells, the uh, uh, endoderm, ectoderm, and mesoderm. And as the person develops, uh, very often their body becomes more of one type or another. Some people are more balanced, but most people are, that is, most people are either heavy set, muscular, or very slender. And those are the body types. So based on that body types, you would hold different issues in that part of the body. The real heavy set person would be more gut oriented and very often hold the issue in the gut. And the muscular person would hold it more in the chest area, and the intellectual person and nervous system oriented will hold it in the brain and the nervous system. So
Okay.
and because of that body type, you would experience different pain differently. For instance, a very slender person might experience different kind of pain, let's say in joints, because they don't have as much padding, muscular or adipose fat in those areas, and the connective tissue very often would put more pressure directly on the nerves, giving sensations of stress or pain.
So I know you're working on a new book that goes into different areas. Um, could you say, is there what we could expect with that, or is that related at all?
It's related. Well, the new book is it's a takeoff on the three centers theory. That is how the body developed out of the basic um, endoderm, mesoderm, ectoderm, which is the germ cells, which is what you were as an embryo, and it develops into different areas. Anyway, so so with that though, I also go to show how that theory of psychology is also related to not only to biology, but related to um, math and also to the classical physics and sacred geometry and quantum physics. And I go through showing the connections in this next book. It's sort of it's a takeoff, and it goes above and beyond given the scientific proof for this type of theory.
Well, I know this book that we're talking about now is one. Well, I guess it came out last year, but it's won like several major awards, I think, right? You've got onto the book
Yes.
here.
Yeah, and the book on Amazon now has the three awards on it. It has it's one, I think, four awards, but the big New York City Big Book Award was one, and it's won a couple other awards. That is the when I'm showing the book and to people who evaluate books, really regard it highly because
Okay.
it goes through a lot of things. It has 68 illustrations. It not just uses words, but it uses figures and tables to show the the different items in the book that are important.
Well,
Like it,
before we have to
yes.
go, I would just want to make sure we mention that you've got a website. We'll put a link in the description of the video for um and I just, I assume you're going to have regular updates on that. Just to let people know that there'll be a link
Okay.
in the description. And um, we're running out of time basically here, so I just wanted to um, say I think people into self-discovery will be excited, and very interested in this book, as well as like we were talking about how it can aid professionals as well. So thanks, for talking. And look forward to doing some more videos
Great. Well,
on
thank
your
you, Dan. I
channel.
appreciate it very much.
Okay. All right. Well, goodbye, everybody.